Oh my god. Hey, I'm Connor Nielsen.
And I am Spencer Nielsen.
Of CS Reviews, and I really love a good movie.
In fact, you do. But unfortunately, that is not what we saw this week. In fact, you could say we saw the complete opposite.
Yes, we saw The Legend of Hercules, starring Kelan Lutz and a bunch of people who are never going to get work ever again.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, and there's also a director to this movie.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, his name's Renny Harlin. Well, I think he'll do a good job directing commercials after this one.
Oh, or music videos.
So, Spencer, tell us the story of The Legend of Hercules.
The Legend of Hercules tells the mishmash of a history textbook and a superhero origin story of the classic Greek myth. Along the way, we see as the son of Zeus, the gift of Hera, born to the actress with the worst age makeup since Watchmen, as he roots his way into exile, Ben-Hurs his way through the galleys, gladiators his way back home, and 300s his way through sword fights.
It's a personal journey about how a man must learn to be an ideal which the people of Rome must strive towards. He will be a symbol of Let's not hold anything back. This movie is garbage.
It is trailer trash.
It is worse than Paranormal Activity 4.5.
When this goes on to Redbox, it'll be like a homecoming among the Asylum movies.
On bad movie nights everywhere, this will be played next to Birdemic and even Troll 2. Where do we start on this thing?
Why not with the easiest fish to catch? The unspecial effects. Okay, before we go any further, I just want to issue a spoiler warning, but do you really care?
I knew I was in for a delightfully terrible time just from the opening sequence. It looked like a DreamWorks animated movie. I was in shock. This got released.
And it's not even just the opening shot. Like, before the opening shot, you know, where the opening titles and, like, production companies are coming up, you hear the bloop bloop of it underwater, and it sounds like a children's toy.
There is a big action set piece, like one of the big ones, that involves somebody who has giant stones attached to chains that are around their wrist. And they're swinging it around, and it looks like there is a computer mouse moving it around the screen. Oh my gosh, the 3D effects in this movie were laughably obvious. There is a scene where Hercules and his brother Loki are finding this lion that looks like something out of that animated movie The Wild, and then it just gets up on top of in their faces, and it looks like a stagehand put up a blue screen prop to the lion to make it look like it's bad. Like in the opening scene, it's the hook, you know, it's the big opening action set piece, and there's a part where there's an archer, like there's a lot of them, but it's looked at this one archer, and I don't know if they were all doing it, but this one, like he just would go and then he just reaches forward. He doesn't reach over to grab another arrow. He just reaches his hand forward, and a CG arrow just appears for him. And he does it like 3 times in one shot. It feels like just the same amount of I don't care went into the special effects and CGI, went into the makeup effects and costumes. We have fake beards practically falling off in the wind. Director's deceased grandma knit these costumes? Did he get them from some high school production? They're like single toned, like they were colored in Microsoft Paint. Oh man! And the production values. Either you look at the screen and you say, that's a blue screen effect, or you look at the screen and you say, that was made in someone's backyard. Hercules is climbing up a waterfall, and when it pans out, you see like this green circle around him.
3D. But we just had the appetizers, people.
Oh, it's time for the meat and potatoes.
Well, let's talk about the acting now, or lack thereof.
Okay, Kelan Lutz, who is an alumni of Twilight. Every single line this guy delivers, it all sounds like this. He could be shouting this speech, and he's talking and motivating his troops, but he still sounds like he's at a high school play. When he could be talking to his gal, he's just this,
Speaking of Hercules' main squeeze, that actress gave me the heebie-jeebies.
The brother in this movie, he thinks he's in like a 2 a.m. soap opera. Just, I'm gonna marry you.
And yeah, I know everyone is talking about the king, but seriously. You will never be an equal to your brother. I mean, after this movie, all the people that were petitioning for this guy to be Batman of all things, yeah, they're probably digging their graves now. I think we should now get to the cast of character archetypes.
Yeah, these actors really had nowhere to go. I mean, they already suck at acting.
Well, yeah, but they didn't have anything to fill. It is filling an empty jar with nothing.
Oh, you think the brother is going to have that moment of inner conflict where he's maybe going to side with his brother, maybe side with his father? Nope, he's just the sleazy bad guy till his stupid end.
The main squeeze decides to like sacrifice herself,
And how she stabs herself, the blade is that long at most.
and you know, we get a shot where she puts it underneath her armpit, and the camera's like, you see that underneath her shoulder.
And then it's supposed to go through him and then into me enough to stab my heart. But I'm the one who dies, and she has a baby.
January logic. And as for evil king, what's his name? He is angry, vengeful dad at the beginning of the movie, and he dies angry, vengeful daddy at the end of the movie.
And then love interest, just love interest. Good buddy, he doesn't even die.
What's a warlike movie without the best friend that dies? And this is just a bag of cliches. I was so disappointed and cheated when they didn't pull that one out.
How do you love those little plot twists they put into it?
Oh, which ones?
Oh man, who could have possibly killed all the small battalion in Egypt?
Who would have sold out?
Who would have sold them out? I mean, it's not like the king said, you're going to go with half of a battalion, and you're going to go with the son I hate. I don't know. It was shocking when I found out that the king did it.
Oh, God. Also, just questionable scenes in general. Hercules' mom goes to the Temple of Hera, and then, you know, she's greeted by Hera's secretary, and she's like, oh, hey, I'm Hera now. I'm possessed. I'm her oracle. And, you know, she says, you will bear the son of Zeus. And then, like, later, it shows her, she's just waiting in bed, like, I wonder when Zeus is coming. And then the wind, you know, just blows out, like, so it looks like someone's in bed with her, and she's having sex with the weather.
It was very embarrassing to sit there and watch. You're just looking around and you're thinking everyone else has, you know, is looking away from the screen right now, aren't they? Because this was embarrassing.
And then I like, in that same scene, so the door opens, and the king sees that, and he goes, what? And he lifts open off the sheets, and there's no one there. And then he looks around the room like, who's here? And then he, where is they? And where is he? Then he runs out and tells everyone, find the person who's hidden in these walls that was sleeping with my wife, even though no one was. And then it leads for one of the best of all time. It was magical.
In case you couldn't tell, everyone shouts in this movie, and it's fantastic. There's also really curious choices that they make too. For example, when
in the gladiator leg of this race, what happens is Hercules and his pal, who looks like a young Sean Bean, but they couldn't get Sean Bean in young age makeup because they only had really bad old age makeup. So what they did was, it was him and his pal versus two of the most hardened veterans who have never lost.
Just behemoths.
You know, one of them looks like Coolio from the cover of Bad Hair Day, or whatever it was. That weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah.
And then they all just get busted.
Yes.
And they just barely survive. And his pal's horribly injured and says, I can't fight the next fight. It can't be the 2 against 6 like we wanted to. And then Hercules says, I'll go alone against all 6 of these guys. Okay. So there are 6 of the most hardened, greatest fighters in Rome. They've never lost. And they're all against this one guy. And he beats them easier than it took for those 2 to fight the other 2. I don't know how it happened. How do you like that stadium? I believed I was at VeggieTales Stadium.
Oh, it was absolutely convincing. You know, there was also, I felt I was so invested in their relationship, you know, when he comes back and she's like, you're alive. And then, you know, they're in like the fantasy romance, like little honeymoon cottage where that has no walls and they're just in the middle of the woods, and, you know, they're just laying there and like they're just regurgitating, just very reminiscent of the Star Wars prequels. Anyway, it's like, you know, I love you. Chirp, 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 chirp. Not as much as I loveth you, my darling.
Chirp, 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 chirp.
I have survived for you.
Chirp, 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 chirp. It was really funny to watch.
Oh, it was awful. And speaking of the dialogue,
What was the director thinking when he was directing this dialogue? Was the writer brain dead? Or was the director not paying attention to the script? Because it goes in and out of,
in 4 moon hence, my bride you shall be, and your maidenhood, I shall take from you as a gift to me.
And then there is a scene where some guy says, well, what do you mean? Well, let me put it this way. And he starts describing this scenario as if it was written in 2013.
I know, it's not just, you know, one could argue, oh, well, it's the classes, it's a difference of classes. But no, some characters will go in and out of Shakespearean-esque dialogue.
Spencer, would you recommend The Legend of Hercules?
Yes, despite its awfulness, and because of its awfulness, I will recommend it. It is redeemable on how irredeemable it is. It is a symphony of bad. I would give this movie a 2 out of 10.
I'm in the same boat with you. I will give this a 2 out of 10 as well. I'm not giving it a 1 out of 10 because it is not movie 43. This is enjoyably terrible. It has just the right amount of people who are apathetic to the project and just the right amount of people who really wanted this to succeed for it to just have that right amount of incompetence and laziness. It is so interesting, and it's obviously made because there's going to be a Brett Ratner Hercules movie with Dwayne Johnson later this year.
And they wanted to cash in on that.
They wanted to cash in, and we get this beautiful piece of crap. Like I said at the beginning, this is going to be my bad movie night entry. You know, people always bring in Troll 2, everybody.
The Room.
Oh, let's get Birdemic up in here.
The Wicker Man.
Oh, Batman and Robin. Battlefield Earth. Legend of Hercules.
Yeah, baby.
What was one good thing about this movie?
If I had to give this movie if I had to spare a penny on the streets just to get by, I would say the action choreography is not all for naught. Of course, it's all slowed down in slow-mo. But, you know, some of the fighting, it's not Oscar-worthy. It's serviceable. And that's about all I can offer it.
Yeah, the fighting at least was not in shaky cam.
That is true.
And the guy who plays his pal who doesn't die,
he was likable. He was likable enough.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm glad we went to the early bird special for this one.
$6.75. I did not feel cheated.
Fine by me. Well, all right. I'm Connor Nielsen,
And I am Spencer Nielsen.
and unless you have anything else to say,
Nope.
guess we're signing out.